Hey, I'm right back with another video. It's like 5:36 p.m. Yeah. And I am sitting here in my house and just kind of waiting for the evening to come. Very tired today. Drained, as a matter of fact. So anyway, I had one of these phone interviews from one of these so-called reputable employers. Employment agency. It's not really an agency. It's like a, I don't know what I call it. Kind of like a a human resource type thing. And so she offered me this job, and I actually played it off pretty well. She was talking about, you know, this particular company that's owned by, I guess, Hasidic Jews, which I have nothing against, you know, Hasidic Jews by any means, okay? But I do understand that many of the women do wear wigs, and I kept thinking, you know, to me, sometimes the solution to these perps problems are actually more forms of harassment. I don't want my employment revolving around my hair, you know, I just don't, you know. And it's not that I would have, maybe these people are nice, maybe they're a very professional company, but, you know, still, it's like, you know, the hair issue thing is just, to me, it's just kind of over the top and ridiculous. So anyway, I handled it professionally, and so I was going to follow up, but then I decided, you know, I'm not going to do that. I really don't want to deal with that kind of, to me, it's still a form of harassment, so I just get off of it already. So anyway, today I'm just kind of sitting around thinking about what kind of art project I want to do to kind of take my mind off of it. I really don't know, you know, how to look for work, you know, in an environment where it's just like infiltrated with a shitload of perps. And to me, it's a perpetrating tactic, I guess we could call it, you know, to be offered positions like that. Like I said, you know, I have nothing against Hasidic Jews. I personally never met any Hasidic Jews. I've met, you know, other Jewish people, but not particularly any of those in that particular sect. But I had studied, well, I wouldn't say in depth, you know, but I have read things about them and seen videos on them because it's interesting, and I think it's important to know about other people. And, you know, I respect their beliefs, you know, but still, I think that particular position was brought up over my hair issue. I know, I'm not interested in working in, you know, building my career or my life around my hair issue. I just don't think that's, you know, it's not appropriate. So anyway, it's very difficult, you know, when you put a person in a program like this, it is very difficult for these people, for targets, to recover. So that is the reason why I think that in situations like this, that, you know, you should definitely try to sue the employer. And the reason why is because of situations like this. You are basically put in a situation where your future is uncertain at that, you know, after you are placed into this program. I have seen videos on people who have a very difficult time to recover. And so the idea of these perps is like, well, will they change your hair? I've already went into that, okay? And to even make an issue of it, or make it you know, constantly focus on it, or try to force a person to do these, you know, that is against their natural behavior. When I mean natural behavior, it's a solution, okay? It's not natural to wear a wig, but I'm saying it's, you know, it's a solution, you know, to a very troubling problem that affects many African American women. So it's a, you know, it's reasonable, okay? I'm not going to change anything about myself, okay? And it's not because I'm being rebellious, it's just common sense, you know? These people should have never threw this issue out there in the public, okay? So I'm not, you know, I don't know what to expect, you know, about my life at this point, you know? I hope that these people realize the serious nature of this issue, because I really think that they should look at other targeted individuals' videos and get an understanding of the precarious position that they put these people in when you do these sort of things, when you violate certain employment laws, when you put people in situations where they're literally fighting for their life. And this is a case that I feel like I'm in. And that's why I'm always nervous. That's why I'm always tense. You know, that's why when I was over at the manufacturing place, why I felt so stressed out, because, you know, I had just got to there at the job. The secretary was being a total bitch from day one. So it's basically sending a message: we are here to intimidate and harass you. harass you, and to the point of where you basically can't survive. So I understand what harassment could actually lead to, and it often does lead to this sort of situation, and sometimes even worse. So I don't take this lightly, and so I think when you're working for an employer, when an issue like this happens, okay, because you never know, because employers such as Karen and all these other people, they tend to want to follow you after you try to find relief by going to another employer, and they are basically attaching themselves to you. And then they created more problems. They don't realize that you wanted to move on from the issue and start your life, and then they constantly keep going and following you and making more issues out of it. Something that I think is personally quite frivolous. Okay, and so this minor issue gets blown up into something that basically went all around the United States. And so anyway, going back to the Hasidic Jewish thing, I could work around anybody, really I can, because my main focus is work. I think that a lot of people are focused on the social aspect of work. I enjoy working, I do, and it's very sad because, for the last decade, and even more than that, I have, really struggled, because I've dealt with actions from other people, and my family got involved in this. Obviously, the Civil Alliance got involved in this, and this sort of thing would have never happened had these people not interfered with my life. I was a single parent at the time, and it was very difficult for me to take care of these responsibilities, go to work, and work in an environment that was very hostile, and very hostile. And to me, it's like, I don't care what the excuse was. I don't care what other people's excuses are for, if they thought, like, for example, I think the reason why they thought that I was wearing the wigs or whatever, they thought that I was doing it to get male attention. Obviously, that's not true, because if I was all about getting male attention, I would probably have a boyfriend by now, because I've been, single for quite a while, and officially divorced, I think, since I think it was last autumn. So I would be out there, looking for that if I was going to do that. But obviously I'm not. And some people think, well, you say you don't want to be involved in a relationship. That's not just somebody, coming up with a willy-nilly solution, or saying that they don't want to get involved with somebody just for no particular reason, or because, I think my reasons for doing so is based on, good logic. I've gone through, what I consider to be a terrible experience, and I know a bunch of other people who have. And then when you consider the fact that I'm basically all by myself, why would I put myself in a situation where, I could be abused? I don't want to focus on those things. That doesn't mean that I don't think that, you can see good-looking people all the time. I see good-looking people walking all around and everything. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to have a relationship with them. I usually think in the back of my mind, man, they should be in a magazine, or they should be in a movie, they should be models or whatever, but I'm not involved in that, you realize that, your expectations of people and their behavior are never going to match up to the kind of standards that I have. And I have very high standards, very, very high standards. And, most people think, well, this particular thing is okay, and I don't agree with that, and I'm not telling people how to live their life. It's just that if it's not going to coincide with my existence in a harmonious relationship, then there's really no point in me pursuing it. It's a very logical, reason why I don't do these things. So it's not that, and I wish, that, employment wasn't so controlled and so, run in a way where it's all so illegal and controlled in this sort of manner. It's very disappointing, because most people, they grow up and they have this idea in their mind that they're going to have a satisfying job. They're going to like what they do. They're going to, all these other things. And then there's always these little political issues that get thrown in there that are not supposed to exist, but employers are constantly, insisting that they should, even when you're just somebody who wants to go to work, do their job, and enjoy their day there, and then go home. That's very discouraging, and it's been very discouraging for a very long time for me, because that's all I've ever envisioned. You know, I've never thought about, you know, running around and having boyfriends at work, or being the company gossip, which I know that fuels, you know, company. So that's just so, you know, prevalent nowadays. And it probably always has been, but you know, so when I get calls from like companies such as the last one, you know, who are supposed to be reputable HR people, you know, you would think that something like this would go through their mind before they even present a job like this, especially since I've been dealing with a harassment issue. But you know, I am committed to always being and acting more professional than the people that I have to deal with, okay? Because I care about my reputation, and I don't ever want to, you know, sink to those sort of shenanigans. It's beneath me to behave in such a manner. But I don't want to build my world, my life around, you know, hair. You know, I don't, you know. And it's unfortunately that these people have ruined and taken so much of my life away from me. You know, the return to normalcy when you're a TI is very rare. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I was so freaked out when I realized that I was a target. When I realized that people were pulling the strings, behind my back, I kept thinking, okay, these people need to get out. Hurry up! Please don't do this anymore. Don't do this anymore. Please don't do this anymore. Because I knew what happens. I fully understood what happens to targets when they get involved in this. And I also like to add that, you know, that I had nothing to do with any of this. So you can get brought into something that you have nothing to do with. And, you know, these people have nothing on me that warrants such a thing, other than my hair issue and this whole Stephen Lyles thing. I'm not being reserved for Stephen Lyles, okay? I understand that Stephen Lyles has a very, what I consider to be an unconventional relationship with someone that a member of his family, from what I understand, okay? And, you know, even so, even if I was seeing him, I would resent the fact that somebody would do this, or other people would get involved, you know, to try to, you know, make me live up to somebody else's standards. You know, that's abusive. I remember there was an article, I think this lady was from Illinois, okay? She was, I wouldn't call her a tomboy, and she wasn't a lesbian, but she was like, you know, one of those women who just really didn't like, you know, being feminine, okay? But she had this old school mom, okay? Her mom was really, really old school, and she was like, you know, you need to wear dresses and stuff. So the mom went over to the employers and started saying, you know, you need to encourage her, you know, to be more feminine, you know, and wear dresses and stuff like this. Well, this caused a huge issue with this woman, okay? Because, you know, people were trying to put pressure on her to change her natural behaviors, okay? Her natural behaviors is not a woman, okay? She doesn't like heels, she doesn't like dresses, she doesn't like, you know, anything that relates to looking feminine at all, okay? But her co-workers were set in motion because her mommy said, you know, she needs to look more girly, and there you go. Now, the conclusion to that issue, I don't really know what happened, but I hope she sued the hell out of these people. I hope that she did. Because, you know, obviously she got hired in her pants, and she was working in her pants, but then all of a sudden, even though her mother was well-intentioned, you know, because her mom always thought, well, women should look ladylike, and, you know, she would be better off looking more feminine, and then getting all these other people, and it ends up becoming a harassment issue, you know. So, really, you know, the behavior of these people, to me, is just, it's shocking. It's shocking and very disappointing, you know, because I expect to see professionalism. I do. I expect to see professionalism, and it is extremely, it is discouraging. It's discouraging when you see people who are supposed to be well-versed and so-called experts and whatever, you know, resorting to these sort of tactics. I have no interest. Like I said, you know, if it just so happened that I ended up working for a group of Hasidic Jews or whatever, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But given the issue relating to my hair, and knowing that, you know, it's very common for Hasidic Jewish women to wear wigs, and I think that obviously there's a connection there, you know, that they think, well, maybe she'd be more comfortable, you know, around other women. I don't need to worry about, you know, feeling comfortable because other women aren't wearing wigs, okay? Once again, somebody is projecting their bullshit on me, okay? To me, I just walk into it. People can talk about my hair all they want to, okay? But when they start pressing me, when they start harassing me, when they start doing this sort of stuff, that's when it becomes an issue. The issue is not to try to force somebody to change. The issue is that, and it goes back down to common sense, okay? People should mind their own business. People should respect the rights of other people. I don't care how you argue it or how you slice it, okay? These people are in the wrong, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, so evening's going to be coming soon. I'm tired, okay? And I don't want to deal with any more bullshit. I don't have time for games or whatever. And it's very difficult because, you know, how does a person like me, who has basically severed ties with everybody because these people got into an issue that they shouldn't have gotten involved in. I don't have any connections, and these people, why would I want to have anything to do with people who basically put my life in jeopardy? Why would I want to do that? You know, it doesn't make sense, okay? It's unfortunate that people don't think about the consequences. You know, I'm a cause and effect type person. I understand if you do one thing, that there's going to be, you know, a negative consequence to whatever action you put out there. I'm fully aware of that. That was the reason why. And these people should have listened when I became aware of what was going on, but they didn't. They insisted on doing things their way. Okay, obviously because they thought, well, you know, I'm more qualified than her, or this is my particular position, and I know. But you fail to acknowledge the fact that you were working outside the guidelines of these particular laws. Laws are established for a reason. They are there for a reason. Like I said before, you know, laws are basically there to prevent what is most likely to occur in nature. It's very likely that somebody is going to commit a hate crime. This is a hate crime, is what it is, okay? And it spiraled into something, you know, and it could have started off well-intentioned. It could have been like, you know, well, I don't think my siblings had any good intentions for me, period, okay? They didn't. They've always had some sort of, you know, competitive issue with me, and now to look back, I understand that. But they started their crap, and then it evolved into a racist issue, and then somebody's trying to throw out some sexual harassment bullshit. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't know about my future anymore, okay? I've had my dreams squashed, just like, you know, for years, and trampled on, and just been placed in situations where, you know, my life was basically dangling on a daily basis, you know? And now it's gotten to this point, you know, all because of stalkers that shouldn't have been involved in the first place. I don't know Stephen's mother very well. Like I said, I only met her twice. Yeah, I met her at a store, and then I met her at saw her at her house or something like that, many years ago. As a teenage girl, I haven't seen Stephen Wiles in over 30 years, okay? So I don't have anything to do with Stephen Wiles. I don't wish him any harm. I would never want to hurt him. Whatever issue he has with his mom, that's whatever, you know what I mean? But I don't want to be associated or affiliated or manipulated, mostly, by people that I really don't know, and for reasons that I would never be happy with in the first place. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll be back with another one later. Bye-bye.